Antes no tenía pelo corto y después me quedó con el pelo, me quedó y ahora...
Before the trophies, before the Bernabéu lights, before the wealth, there was a journey that started with survival. And when I say survival, I mean the kind that comes when you are born in a refugee camp. That is where Eduardo Camavinga's life started before his family moved to rebuild their lives in France. Football wasn't just a dream, it was an escape, a lifeline. At just 16 years old, Camavinga shattered expectations, becoming one of the youngest players to ever debut and score for Rennes in Ligue 1. Calm beyond his years, fearless on the ball, he played like someone who already belonged on the biggest stage. That stage came fast, and instead of pressure breaking him, it forged him. Whether controlling midfield chaos, locking down the left side in impossible Champions League nights, or stepping up in finals, Camavinga became the definition of versatility and trust. In this video, I would be taking you through the life of Eduardo Camavinga, shaped by adversity, driven by humility, and powered by a quiet brilliance that keeps rewriting what's possible. The story of Eduardo Camavinga begins far from the bright lights of European football stadiums, far from the chants, the cameras, the thunderous applause that would one day follow his every move. It begins instead in 2002, in the quiet, uncertain confines of a refugee camp in Cabinda, Angola, where he was born to Congolese parents who had fled the chaos of the civil war in the Democratic Republic of Congo. His parents, Celestino Camavinga and Sofia Simao, had escaped violence in search of safety, carrying little more than hope for a future their unborn children might know. Eduardo entered the world surrounded not by comfort, but by resilience, hardship, and a family bound tightly by survival. He was one of 6 siblings, children raised on courage and sacrifice. When Eduardo was just 2 years old, the Camavinga family left the refugee camp behind and moved to France, settling in the small, peaceful town of Fougères in the northwest. It was here, far from the heat of Angola, that Eduardo's first memories took shape. He grew up not as a future football star, but as a quiet boy who loved running, laughing with his siblings, and trying his hand at judo before discovering that his real destiny was waiting on the football pitch. But life in France wasn't without hardship. In 2013, when Eduardo was around 11, tragedy struck. The Camavinga family home burned down. Flames consumed everything: clothes, furniture, memories, their sense of stability. Eduardo remembered seeing the firefighters and learning that his family had lost nearly everything. Yet, the devastation didn't break him. Instead, he famously said that the fire became his greatest motivation, the spark that pushed him to chase football with unwavering determination, not just for himself, but for his family. Before the fire, Eduardo had already shown promise on the pitch, but afterward, he trained with a fierce dedication beyond his years. His mother enrolled him in the local club AGL Drapeau Fougères, where his natural talent quickly shone through. Scouts noticed a boy who could glide across the field, control the ball with maturity far beyond his age, and play with a calmness that belied the storms he had lived through. At age 11, he joined the academy of Stade Rennes, and from that moment, Eduardo's trajectory changed forever. He soared through the youth ranks, playing with older boys, mastering every challenge placed in front of him. Coaches described him as a child with gravity in his feet and fire in his heart. A boy who knew exactly why he was fighting. Every sprint, every tackle, every pass was shaped by his childhood, the refugee camp, the move across continents, the fire that took everything, and the promise he made silently to his family to rebuild, to rise. When Eduardo Camavinga first stepped onto a professional football pitch, the world had no idea it was witnessing the beginning of a new era, an era defined not by size or swagger, but by fearlessness, composure, and a talent so natural it seemed predestined. Camavinga's journey into the professional ranks began in the quiet northwest of France, at Rennes, the club that would shape his earliest steps into the spotlight. After years climbing rapidly through the academy, he signed his first professional contract on the 14th of December 2018, becoming the youngest professional player in the club's history at just 16 years and 1 month old. Only a few months later, on the 6th of April 2019, the world was introduced to him in earnest. At 16 years and 6 months, Eduardo Camavinga made his professional debut for Rennes in a thrilling 3-3 Ligue 1 draw with Angers, instantly becoming the youngest player ever to appear for the Rennes first team. The moment was symbolic, a teenager stepping into a league of grown men and playing with a calmness that belied his age. The following months transformed the boy into a sensation. His performances were not flashes of promise, they were sustained demonstrations of maturity, technique, and vision that made Europe take notice. With each tackle, each elegantly weighted pass, each fearless surge through midfield, Camavinga dismantled expectations. By the 2019 to 2021 seasons, he was no longer a prodigy waiting for his chance. He was Rennes' midfield heartbeat. He made 71 appearances for the club, anchoring a side that looked to him for rhythm, energy, and creativity, despite him being barely old enough to drive. And then came the moment that would change everything. In August 2021, at just 18 years old, Eduardo Camavinga completed a dream move, one he had whispered about since childhood, when Real Madrid signed him for 31 million euros. Suddenly, the boy who once trained on the outskirts of Rennes was walking into the Santiago Bernabéu, wearing the crest of the most decorated club in world football. Madrid demanded more than talent. It demanded wisdom, courage, and the ability to thrive under pressure that crushes most players twice his age. And Camavinga delivered. From the moment he stepped onto Spanish soil, he became one of the club's most versatile and reliable players. Midfield, he excelled with press resistance and elegance. Left back, he stunned with speed, precision, and defensive midfield. He controlled games with icy composure. By the 2022 and 2024 seasons, Camavinga was no longer simply a promising signing. He was a two-time La Liga and UEFA Champions League double winner, a crucial cog in Carlo Ancelotti's evolving machine. His impact wasn't confined to club football. In 2020, at only 17 years old, he made his senior debut for France, becoming the nation's youngest debutant in more than 100 years, a historic milestone that echoed his club achievements. He even went on to represent France in Qatar as part of the squad that finished runner-up in the 2022 FIFA World Cup, solidifying his place among the brightest of his generation. At Real Madrid, Camavinga has since passed the 130 appearance mark, proving himself not just as a prodigy, but as a complete modern footballer, capable of battling giants in midfield, covering vast stretches of pitch as a fullback, and controlling matches with elegance rare for a player so young. Through every chapter of his professional story, from Rennes to Real Madrid, from Ligue 1 debut to World Cup finalist, one theme remains constant. Eduardo Camavinga does not merely adapt to the moment, he rises to it. He has become the player who turns pressure into poetry, expectation into execution, and adversity into brilliance. And though his professional story already reads like a legend, the most extraordinary truth is this: Eduardo Camavinga is only getting started. When Eduardo Camavinga walks into a stadium, calm, composed, shoulders relaxed, you'd never guess that behind the quiet confidence stands a young man who has turned adversity into achievement, hardship into wealth, and raw potential into a fortune envied across the football world. Camavinga's net worth is the story of a life transformed by opportunity. As of early 2026, Eduardo Camavinga's net worth is estimated at $43 million, a staggering figure for a player barely in his 20s. This fortune wasn't built on hype, it was built on the trust and investment of one of the biggest clubs on earth, Real Madrid. His transfer to the Spanish giants in 2021 for 31 million euros years marked his ascent into football's financial elite. But the true turning point came in November 2023, when Real Madrid offered him not simply a contract, but a declaration of faith, a long-term extension through 2029, paired with a massive salary increase. His new deal secured an annual gross salary of 12.5 million euros, elevating him from rising talent to certified superstar. It even included a 1 billion euro release clause, the type reserved only for footballing royalty. As of 2026, contract analyses show another side of his wealth. Camavinga has 50 million euros in guaranteed remaining salary under his Real Madrid deal, earning 12.5 million euros per season, or roughly 240,385 euros per week before bonuses. His financial security is not just impressive, it's generational. But Eduardo's fortune doesn't end at the training pitch. Global brands see in him what fans see: elegance, humility, youth, and star power. Among his endorsement deals, his Nike partnership stands out, one of the central pillars of his off-field income. His face, his boots, his story have become part of the brand's global identity. Yet even with these earnings, other net worth analyses offer a different viewpoint. Some estimates, focusing more conservatively on liquid assets rather than projected earnings, place his wealth at around $10 million as of 2025, emphasizing that much of his income is tied in contract guarantees and ongoing deals. This contrast reveals an essential truth about Eduardo Camavinga. His fortune isn't just measured in cash, it's measured in trajectory. Camavinga's net worth is a reflection of resilience turned into reward, of hardship transformed into global success. He stands today not merely as a wealthy footballer, but as a symbol of what happens when talent meets opportunity and when determination refuses to yield. Eduardo Camavinga's fortune is still growing, but one thing is already clear: his true value has never been rooted in money, but in the extraordinary journey that earned it. With earnings like that, I would say with all certainty that he lives in a lavish home. When Eduardo Camavinga arrived in Madrid, a teenager stepping into the kingdom of Real Madrid, he wasn't just entering European football's grandest stage. He was stepping into a new world, one that shimmered with luxury, heritage, and the quiet hum of possibility. Madrid embraced him instantly. The young star settled into the heart of Spain's capital, choosing to live near the Santiago Bernabéu, the beating heart of Real Madrid. His home, modern, sleek, and comfortably nestled in one of the city's most desirable districts, became more than a place to sleep. It became a sanctuary, a base, a symbol. Inside those walls, Camavinga did not live alone. His brother Sebastião moved in with him, a familiar presence in a new chapter of life. Together, they filled the Madrid home with the spirit of family, laughter, brotherhood, and the echoes of a journey that had started thousands of miles away in Angola and France before finding its way to La Liga's greatest cathedral. The Camavinga residence isn't just about luxury, it's about intentional comfort, a place where a prodigy can breathe. In Madrid, Eduardo has crafted a life that balances glamour with grounding. Videos and lifestyle features reveal glimpses of a home styled with a young star's taste. Modern architecture, high-end furnishings, and spacious rooms basked in the warm Spanish sun. While cameras rarely enter the private areas, what is known is that the home reflects the elegance of a player who has become a global icon before turning 25. It is a place where he unwinds with fashion, music, and quiet evenings, his own palace of calm amid the pressure of elite football. The mansion, though discreetly protected from public exposure, sits strategically close to the Bernabéu. This choice speaks to who Camavinga is: dedicated, disciplined, and always a short drive away from the pitch that has become his second home. Living in the heart of the capital, as reports put it, allows him to immerse himself in Madrid's rhythm, culture, and the never-ending heartbeat of football that pulses through the city. Even as he trains under world-class managers, lifts trophies, and dazzles on Champions League nights, he returns to a home filled with family memories, brotherly support, and a grounding sense of belonging. In a city of royalty and legends, he has carved out a personal space, a modern castle shaped not by wealth alone, but by gratitude and resilience. Next up is his car collection, though not ostentatious, reflects the same qualities that define him on the pitch: elegance, explosiveness, and versatility. Madrid evenings often see Camavinga gliding through the capital behind the wheel of his Range Rover Sport, a machine that balances comfort and command. With its twin turbocharged V8 delivering up to 450 horsepower, this SUV is a quiet beast, capable of power yet designed for calm. Priced around $100,000, it's often the first choice for his daily movement through the city. Sleek, luxurious, and composed, just like the player himself. Another day, another mood. Camavinga presses the ignition of his Mercedes-Benz AMG GLA, a compact dynamo engineered for agility. Its 2.0-liter turbocharged engine can unleash 302 horsepower, making it a spirited companion for quick dashes through Madrid's winding roads. Valued at around $77,000, it's a car that mirrors his style on the pitch: small frame, explosive force. But there are days when discretion is overrated. Enter the Mercedes-Benz AMG G63, the Hollywood cowboy of his collection. A 577 horsepower twin-turbo V8 turns this boxy titan into a rolling declaration of confidence. Valued at roughly $150,000, the G63 fits Camavinga perfectly: bold, rugged, impossible to ignore. When he pulls up in this SUV, Madrid notices. For family moments, or days when comfort overwhelms the need for velocity, Camavinga slips into the spacious embrace of his Mercedes-Benz V-Class, valued at $85,000. It's a luxury MUV built for calm travel, powered by a 2.2-liter diesel engine with 161 bhp. The V-Class is his sanctuary on wheels, a reminder that even stars need space to breathe. But every collection needs a crown, and Camavinga's crown roars with unmistakable Italian fury. He has been seen in a Lamborghini Urus, the world's most famous super SUV. It's a machine that fuses the soul of a supercar with the posture of an SUV, offering a staggering 800 CV of power, razor-sharp design, and a blistering 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.4 seconds. This isn't just a car, it's a statement that the young star has arrived. Its price? Easily soaring into six-figure territory, often over $250,000 depending on configuration. It is loud, it is beautiful, it is Camavinga's fire in metallic form. Eduardo Camavinga's car collection isn't just a parade of luxury vehicles, it's a portrait of the man behind the midfield magic. Each engine echoes a chapter of a journey that began in a refugee camp and rose to the summit of world football. Let's take a glance at his personal life. Eduardo grew up with 5 siblings, including his brothers Sebastião and Celio, who remain central figures in his life today. Despite reaching global stardom before turning 20, Eduardo has remained deeply tied to his family values. His parents raised him with discipline, humility, and an understanding of responsibility. His father worked manual jobs, factory and agricultural, to support the family, while his mother provided emotional strength and guidance, especially in the wake of the house fire that pushed Eduardo to chase excellence. Eduardo has often said he plays not just for trophies, but for his family name, for the people who carried him long before he carried a football career on his back. Eduardo's brother Sebastião, who resides with him and is a trained barber, quickly made a name for himself in Madrid, cutting hair for several Real Madrid players and even launching a joint business venture with Eduardo called Camavinga House, blending their passions for fashion and grooming. Their home often buzzes with creativity, ambition, and the grounded energy only family can bring. Though Eduardo is adored by millions, he keeps his personal and romantic life away from the spotlight. As of the latest reports, he has not publicly confirmed any relationship, choosing instead to focus on his career, family, and personal growth. Fans may speculate, but Eduardo stays centered on what truly matters to him: football, family, and humility. Off the pitch, Camavinga's life is surprisingly simple for someone living the glamorous Real Madrid dream. He loves fashion, often appearing in high-end looks and even walking runway events. He invests in business ventures, supports his siblings, and honors his Congolese roots while representing France at the highest level. But above all, he remains grounded. His journey is carried not by extravagance, but by gratitude and the quiet fire inside him. Every step he takes in Madrid, every match he plays for France, every challenge he conquers is a tribute to the people who shaped him. And that is the remarkable journey of Eduardo Camavinga. If this story moved you, inspired you, or gave you a new appreciation for the man behind the midfielder, then imagine what the next chapters of his life will hold. And trust me, this is only the beginning. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss another deep dive. Drop a comment below and tell us what surprised you most about Camavinga's journey. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay passionate, stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next video.